So welcome to Monday Yoga. I am going to sit on a block. You don't have to sit on a block. Sit on something that makes sense to you. I always recommend trying to sit up on something because it helps. Sit however it makes sense to you. You don't need to sit with your legs folded under you. That's just what I'm doing these days. I just got invisible aligners in my teeth, and my mouth still feels very strangely, so I am trying to enunciate properly. If I'm doing a poor job of that, I apologize. Supposedly this is going to get easier with time, so we'll see. I do have a strap today. Make sure you've got something around that you can grab that is something vaguely strap-like. It doesn't need to be a yoga strap. You're not going to be out of luck participating in practice without it. But if you have like a Pilates band or a scarf or a belt, maybe like a pair of like nylons or something, anything that is flexible that is pretty long, because we'll use that to do a little bit of shoulder work. We're going to work into a heart opening work. And for some time now, I've also been layering in some throat opening work with that. I found that a lot of big heart postures also require having a softness in the throat. And with the chakras, you know, they're very close to each other. There's a layering in there of needing to have like the openness in our communication channel and the openness in our heart and our courage channel. And I love when we're talking about this, I love to send the reminder of the etymology of the word courage. Well, heart is, in Latin, cor is heart. So your heart is the seat of your courage, and courage in that backstory, it means to speak one's heart's truth. Like, you know, bravery and bravado, etc. That's all like, you know, running off into the battlefield. But courage is being able to speak clearly of the truth of your heart. And I have to admit, so I've been doing a lot of heart work myself lately. I've been talking about you know, some changes with some feelings and some friend relationships. And every time I call up a friend, I find myself saying, I really need to talk to you about a thing. Are you ready to listen? And they'll say, yeah, sure. And then it's like something stops and I don't know what to say. And I almost want to be like, okay, never mind, you first. You start talking to me. I don't even know where to begin. It's like something just gets blocked there. It gets scary to start to talk about things that are deep in our hearts, that are deep inside of our feelings, and being able to be open in both of these places is helpful to that. It's like they're like buddies that you build up and power up to be able to open up more in these spaces. So we'll be layering in some relaxing and softening in the throat in order to hopefully open up a little bit more in the heart space. And we're going to start off with doing some what I call heart tending. So this is some fascia release. It's for the connective tissue that's between your skin and your muscles. You're going to take one of your hands, you're going to slide it underneath your collarbone. And I like to line this up where the index finger is just below the collarbone, kind of on that same line and in about that position. If your shirt will let you get your hand onto the skin, that's great. If it's uncomfortable, if you're wearing a t-shirt or whatever, don't worry too much about it. But if you can get to where you've got the skin-on-skin contact, that can be a nice way to practice this. You can always try it again later when that's a little bit easier based on your wardrobe. So the hand that's touching your chest, it's just going to be receiving. You're going to use the other hand to press downwards. So there's a slight compression inwards towards your chest. And then there's a little bit of a dragging down that you do. So not anything drastic, but you kind of feel a little bit of this downward pressure. So in and then a little bit dragging downwards away from the collarbone. And you can start to feel over some time that there's some breaking up of the stickiness between your tissues. It's almost like your hand's able to drag the skin down a little bit further. We do connective tissue work. We do fascia release because your body wants to keep you put together. And one of the ways that it does this is to continue to build up connective tissue to keep us all, put together and not falling into pieces. But if you don't break apart the connective tissue with movement and with pressure like this, then it just keeps building up to the point at which it seems almost impossible to break through. So we need to get in here every so often and loosen it up again. Take another breath in. Give yourself another breath out. And then you're going to take the other hand, you're going to move it to the other side. So slide it up underneath your collarbone, kind of line it up at the collarbone, just barely underneath with the index finger, and the other hand goes on top, and you press inwards and then gently dragging downwards. And it's the top hand that does the work. The bottom hand is receiving. It's also kind of passing that pressure along towards your connective tissue and into your heart region. And that shows up the stickiness from the places we don't move, the places we don't exercise. That shows up outside of the physical body as well. That shows up in our communication with others and our communication with ourselves. Once one of my dear, sweet patient friends is able to get me talking about how I feel, the floodgates start to open, right? Once we get used to being able to have a conversation, to identify experiences and feelings and thoughts, then it's easier to get rolling with it. It's just like that first moment, like, oh, I don't know, you start. I don't know. Give yourself 2 more deep breaths like this. And just drop your hands down into your lap for a moment. Notice the sensations that might be coming up around your chest space, your heart space. If anything feels any looser, if it feels kind of sparkly or charged up, whatever comes up there. And we'll move into our face brushing. So take your index finger and thumb together, the squishy spot at the bottom of your thumb, bring that to the center of your forehead, brush outwards towards your temples a few times. And then moving from the sides of your nose out to your temples, along your cheekbones. And from your temples down to your chin, along your jawline. And the sides of your nose down to your chin, along your laugh lines. And then massaging underneath and behind your ears. Starting to lift up from that space right behind your ears, those bony points. And even here with this lifting up, it's like there's some gentle dripping away of the stickiness of the connective tissue that layers around your spine. Maybe you just even feel it up in your neck here, getting a little bit more relaxed. Take another big breath in and breath out. And once again, rest your hands down in your lap. Allow your collarbones to relax, open, finding some more of that open space that you had after heart tending. And as you take a few deep breaths, feeling the movement and expansion in your heart space and perhaps some softness in your throat. Take our 3 ohms together, starting with a big breath in through your nose. Big breath out through your mouth. Again, like that. For 3 ohms.
Start to open your eyes. We're going to come down onto our backs. You want to make sure that when you get down on your back that you've got enough room behind you to extend your arms back. So you just want to make sure you've got enough space if there's your couch or any furniture or wall right where you are. And then you're going to make sure your strap comes with you and then come down onto your back. Go ahead and squeeze your legs into your chest to start off with. Give yourself a little rock around. Let your body get acclimated to a new orientation in space. Go ahead and drop your legs down. You're going to grab your strap and hold on to it up above your face. So you're going to grab on about shoulder width apart, or maybe even wider than your shoulders. And if it starts to feel crunchy in your shoulders, I want you to give yourself permission to bend your elbows and or widen your grip on the strap a little bit more. So know that you can make those adjustments. So you're going to grab onto the strap and then you're going to turn your hands so your palms face to each other and your thumbs face back behind you. Don't worry about getting your strap down on the floor. You want to think about reaching long more so than reaching back. So take a big breath in. On your exhale, wrap your belly button just a little bit closer to your spine. So not like you got punched, but like your abdominals are engaged and wrapped inwards. And then when you breathe in again, you're going to reach your arms back behind you, and you want to try to reach as far back as possible rather than trying to get to the floor. And then exhale, reach your hands back up above your face. Do that a few more times. Inhale, reach the arms back. Exhale, taking the strap back up. As you do this, what is common is to feel a little bit of tension in the jaw muscles as you're breathing, because it can be hard to reach this strap back. It can be hard to keep that length. So just keep giving yourself permission to soften that region, the jaw muscles, maybe anything in your face that's getting kind of tense. Do this one more time like this. And then you've got an option. We're going to do 3 more. What you might do is take your shins up like they're parallel to the ceiling. This is going to be a lot harder, so you can decide how much you want to do this and know you might not reach your arms back quite as far. Let's take 3 times. Inhale, reaching the arms back. Exhale, taking them back up. Inhale, reach them back. Exhale, take it up. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, and then release your feet if you had them up. Take the strap and set it off to your side. Go ahead and open your arms out. Maybe wiggle your shoulder blades underneath your heart so your heart is just a little bit more open and soft. You're going to take your right ankle now and put it up on your left knee, and you could stay here pressing your hands into both of those thighs to open up your hip to rotate this right thigh outwards a little bit more. Or if you like, take the right arm in between the legs and hold onto the left thigh. If you notice your chin is jutting up, if you're feeling like there's shortness in the back of your neck, grab something and put it underneath your head. Give yourself a little prop up so that your head and neck are a little more relaxed. Don't worry about how close you get the legs towards your chest. Think instead of relaxing your hips down.
even if they don't get down. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then release your left foot down, release your right foot down, and take your left ankle up onto your right knee. So you can stay here pressing both thighs down and forward, which is a more subtle opening in the hips, or you can get a little bit more frisky about it, reaching around and holding onto your right leg, your bottom leg. Check in with your throat muscles if they got tense. Check in with your collarbones if they can relax, open a bit more. Check in with your hips. See if you can let them be a little bit heavier. Even if it doesn't change the actual position of your body, it might change the way that it feels, which is much more important. Breath in. Big breath out. And you're going to release your right foot and your left foot down. So we're going to do a little bit of opening in the arm here. What often happens is you try to slide the hand up too far, and it's like, I want to go further in this and feel a lot, and that can become really painful. So don't worry about feeling a lot in this. Probably be better to try to feel a little bit less, especially if what you feel a lot of is discomfort, because we want to soften and relax rather than trying to like dive deep into this area quite yet. We'll dive deep into it in a moment. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll to one side. I'll show you first on this side. I want you to bring, roll yourself over enough that you can take your hand and you're going to slide it up your back. So for many of us, it's going to stop with the back of the hand right around the waist region. So you want to line it up with your spine. What you might do is slide the back of the hand up a little bit more towards your shoulder blades or the middle of your ribs. Some of us are really bendy and you're going to get that hand all the way up and behind you, but don't feel like you are, trying to get there just for the sake of getting there. It's not that important. We want to soften. So once you find how far you can roll over, you can slide that hand back. You're going to roll back over so that you've got the palm face down on the floor. And if you feel like there's some pressure, some tension, if that shoulder's dripping or lifting up a little bit too much, I want you to roll back and then slide your hand down about an inch or so, and then come back and see how that goes. So you feel a little bit, yeah, but not a lot. This is not the big, insane part of practice where there's a lot of feelings. There's subtle feelings, and we still want to be here for them. And what I often find is really useful is just to take the index finger and the thumb on the other hand. So I'm kind of poking at my shoulder and my collarbone, and then maybe using my fingertips to open that space a little bit more. This might be the weirdest part of our practice today. One more exhale. And then you're going to roll over so you can get that hand out from underneath you. And then we'll roll over to the other side so you can take your other hand up. So you're going to line it up about with your spine. You might slide it up. That's all the way up for me. That's as far up as it's going to get. You can have it here, here, here. You can have it all the way up there, but you want to pretty much line it up with your spine. And then roll over onto your back. Check it out. If you need to roll back and shift the hand, you'll do that. And you can just let this hand drop down. I kind of do find it interesting to take index finger and thumb, line it up in that, collarbone shoulder place, and then just gently open my hand. It's another gentle cue touch for the body to open up in the front of that shoulder. Should be able to breathe very easily here. One more exhale. Then you're going to go ahead and roll over off of your hand and come down onto your back. One more thing on our back, we're going to tie ourselves in a little bit of a knot. So you're going to take, let's say your left foot, since you can see here, I'm going to slide it underneath. I'm going to bring it underneath the knee. And then you can either catch it with your opposite ankle, so that foot is holding on to the leg so it doesn't go anywhere. Or I can take my hand down to the foot if it's going to reach. And then you're gonna roll over so that your knee comes down. You don't wanna have your knee floating up in the air. If you're able to have both hips down, great. If you need to roll this hip up, that's absolutely fine too. And then if you wanna bring your left knee a little closer to the right foot, you might do that. If you wanna take your left hand and drop it back behind your head, just let your head rest into your arm, give a little bit more tricep release. Mostly here, we're stretching the front of the left thigh, whatever foot you've caught. And also you're stretching out through the left tricep, the back of your arm. Take one more breath like this. And then you're gonna release your arm. If you had it up behind you, you're gonna release your leg, unwind it from that knot, and then take your right leg, you're gonna slide it underneath, and then you're gonna roll over as much as you need. You can take your left hand to your right foot, take your right arm back behind you. You might wiggle your right leg over a little bit, so we're just coming into a place where we're getting a quad stretch. Let your head rest back. One more breath. Then you're gonna unwind your bottom leg. We're gonna unwind the arm. We're gonna roll over onto our backs. You can also do this if you're seated. If you're not on your back, you can also come down with your elbows onto your shoulders and lift your chest up and forward, or your hands on your shoulders. We're gonna do a little bit of back bending work here. So if you get yourself down onto your belly, we're gonna come here with the elbows underneath the shoulders so you're propped up in Sphinx pose. And anything where you've got your arms propping yourself up so that your chest is lifted. My goodness. Got crazy contraption in my mouth. Thank you for bearing with. So you want to keep your chest lifted and your collarbones open. We'll do a little bit of neck work. Go ahead and look over your right shoulder. And then see if you can open your left collarbone just a little bit more. Stay there through your exhale. And then come back to facing towards the front. You're gonna look over your left shoulder, feel your right collarbone opening up a little bit more. Start to look forward again. Keep your chest lifted. Just drop your chin down towards your chest. As you take your next exhale, soften your throat a little bit more to see if there's any more space to move into. And then lift your head back up, see if there's any more space to open up in your chest. One more breath in. And then go ahead and soften yourself. So you can relax into a seat, or if you're laying down, go ahead and soften yourself down with your head resting on your hands in a way that's comfortable and easy. And then start to bring your hands back in. So if you wanted to have your hands on your thighs to work a little bit more back bending, you could do that from a seat. If you can bring your hands in by your ribs for cobra pose. We're gonna come up into a couple of low cobra poses. And then relax, let out a big sigh. Just see if anything changed. One more breath in. Exhale, soften down. And come up like that again. So we're gonna come up into cobra pose. See how it feels. Exhale, relax your throat. See if anything changes in your heart opening. Take another breath in. And then soften it down. And then start to press yourself up. We're gonna come into a squat. So you want to have your hands on the inside of your legs. Go ahead and step your feet up nice and wide, a little bit wider than your hips. You can have a nice bend into your knees. Bring your elbows to your knees, to your thighs. If your body lets you come down like this, you're welcome to do that, but I'm just going to go ahead and stay up here, knowing that you could go further if you would like to. I want you to drop your hips back and then open your collarbones, lift your heart up, and then notice if your throat got tight, because mine totally did. Relax it, exhale. Draw your belly and hands to your thighs and come all the way up to standing. Great, we're gonna do some how are we doing? Great, good. I love it when I'm actually on time for things. So we're gonna come and do a couple of standing poses and then a little bit of shoulder. We're going to bring your feet together so that the inside edges of your feet touch, and then feel the weight move forward slightly. So you're a little bit more in your toes than you're in your heels. And then lift up the fronts of your hips. So we're engaging these lower abdominals. You're gonna take your arms up. Hold on to your left arm, reach it up and over to your right. Relax your shoulder blades so you're not like pinching the arm back. You've got a little bit more space back there. And then inhale, reach up right from your inner thighs up through your heart, through your fingertips. Exhale, soften something. And then inhale, come on up and come to the other side. So you're going to hold on to your right wrist, come up and over, release your shoulder blades, squeeze those inner thighs up and forward, lift the fronts of your hips, relax into this side bend on your exhale, and then come on up and release your arms down and wiggle them a little bit. We're going to do some top of the foot stretching. So if you've got a really hard surface, fold over your mat or give yourself some extra squishiness. Give yourself something where you're not going to be pressing the top of your foot into something hard because it can be very uncomfortable. You're going to come onto the top of your foot. So if you need to just come up onto toe tips and reach the toe back that way, you can do that. If you can come onto the toenail side of your foot, all the weight is in your standing foot. And then you're going to start working on straightening this leg. If that's going well, you can take one arm up, you can take both arms up. You want to work on straightening the leg, and it can take a little while. It might not totally unravel today. That's just the direction we're moving in. Give yourself another breath in, and then take your hands down and your foot down. Just layering in whatever you can do with it. If it's just working on getting onto the toenail side of the foot, that's your work. You might take breaks, go back into it. If you can get to the toenail side of the foot, you're pressing down firmly on the foot that's, holding you up the way that you're used to being held up. We're working towards having a straight back leg. You might reach one or both arms up, and if you feel like it's hard to stay balanced here, you're right, because your body is not used to standing you up in this position. It is a balance challenge. Give yourself another inhale. Ooh, and exhale. Set the hand, the foot down. We'll wiggle around. We're going to do some shoulder flossing. Go ahead and grab onto your strap. And you're going to hold the strap a little bit wider than your shoulders. And what you're going to do with this is as you move it, you're going to end up sliding your hands out a little bit further. So you will have just that adaptability, know that you're not stuck. Every time I do it, I scooch myself in a little bit more and then go out a little bit more. So that's just part of what might be helpful in your shoulders. I'm going to show it from the side because I don't want us to be like out here. You want to lift the front of your hips and stay really steady in your center. So this is going to become a little bit more core work too. You're going to have the strap out in front of you, and as you inhale, reach it up. And as you exhale, draw it back behind you, slide it out with your hands or bend your elbows if you need. It shouldn't feel like you're being dug out. You should feel like you're just flossing around the shoulders. So inhale, reach it up. Exhale, soften it down. A couple more times. Inhale up. Exhale, reach it back. Notice if you're reaching up long through your spine, right from the backs of your ears. Notice if any tension starts to build up anywhere in the body. Maybe it's in your face or your jaw or your throat. One more all the way around. To relax the hands back down and forward again. We're going to keep the strap with us and then move into warrior one. So take your right foot forward, step your left foot back, make sure that you've got some width between your feet, that you're not standing on a tightrope. Good bend in your front leg, and then reach your arms up. You got the hands just a little bit wider than the shoulders. Go ahead and pull the strap apart. And then you're going to lift your heart up to the strap, creating a little bit of back bend. If you've got the space and you can reach the strap back, you're welcome to do that, but don't feel like you have to tear anything open. We're not trying to go super wild here. Think of getting expansive. You want to reach up to that strap. And as much as you're reaching up to that strap, you're reaching the heart out and forward in front of that strap. And then soften your throat, see what happens. And then we're going to release that grip a little bit. You're going to take the hands back behind you. So go ahead and slide the hands out as much as you need to do that. And you're going to turn your hands so that the palms face in. So I've got my strap all the way wrapped around my knuckles here. We're going to keep actually go ahead and give a little break to your front leg if you need to. And then drop back into it. So we're going to keep in this steady lunge without letting your hip go to the side. You're going to pull your right hip back towards your left foot and then reach the strap back and take your heart forward. Ooh, this is a big one. I feel the wider my arms are here, the harder it is. I also widen my heart, relax the jaw, the eyebrows. One more exhale. And come on up. Go ahead and relax the front leg. You're going to take your straps, go ahead and loop it around your shoulders like a scarf so you don't have to drop down and grab it again. And then we're going to come back into warrior one, or if you're feeling pretty good about your balancing in your back foot, you're going to come on to the back toes. So you can do it this way. It's not super crazy this way, but it's a little bit easier to balance if your back heel is on the ground. Take your hands up, bring them behind your back, behind your head. And then you're going to let your elbows come forward. And then knowing that you can change the position of your back foot whenever you need, you're going to relax your head as much as possible back into your hands. You're just relaxing the head. You're still lifting the heart up and forward so you're not falling into your lower back. And then if this is feeling real good, if you're feeling good about trying a little bit more intensity, you're actually going to press your head back into your hands as you press your elbows out and forward. High triceps. One more breath. And then bring your head back on your spine with the back heel up or down. We're going to reach those arms up. Either a big heart opener, warrior one, or a big heart opener, crescent lunge. Take another inhale. And then bring your hands down. Go ahead and step your feet together. Some wiggles and bops around. And then we'll move into the other side. So you're going to take your right foot back. We'll start off in warrior one. So we've got a little bit of space between the legs. Back leg is nice and straight, toes forward. Front knee is bent in the same direction as your toes. Take the strap off of your shoulders. Go ahead and hold it a little bit wider than your shoulders. You're going to reach it up. Lift your heart up, lift the backs of your ears up, pull the strap apart, and then see how far the strap will go back. It's going to be different on all of us. It's not about how far it goes back. It's about how expansive you can make the shape. It's about being able to breathe. Seeing if you can soften the throat, if that makes any difference in the space available in your chest. One more breath in. Breathing out. Then straighten the front leg, take the bend out, relax your arms. Gently bring them down behind your back. Seriously, the wider the hands are, the harder it is. If you have them a little bit closer together, if you wiggle your hands a little closer, it will probably feel a lot more balanced, I guess, is maybe a word I'm looking for. And you're going to bend back into the front leg. Turn the palms to face to each other. You're going to pull the strap apart and reach it back still, or reach it back, but still pulling it apart. And then you're going to take your heart forward. Notice my legs didn't move. Keeping the left hip pulling towards the back foot. Check in with the tension around your neck, around your throat chakra. See if you can allow it to relax. It's a continuous dialogue, huh? One more round of breath. And go ahead and draw yourself back up. Just straighten the front leg, relax it. You're going to take the strap and bring it up around your shoulders. You're either going to keep the back foot down the way it is, you're going to pivot up onto the back toes. Either's fine. This up on the toes version gives you a little bit more room to back bend. So just knowing that there's a benefit to both. Take the hands behind the head. Elbows go forward. Then you're going to relax your head back into your hands. Then you might lift the elbows up, press the head into the hands. Heart lifts up and forward. Check in with your breathing. One more breath. Exhale. Bring your head back up. Release your hands. You're going to reach them up. You can have the back heel up or down. We're going to lift the heart up to the hands. Big, expansive, heart opening shape, heart lifting shape. And as you exhale, hands come down, go ahead and step your feet forward. Many steps as you need. Wiggle things out. And then you're going to step things out wide into a really wide-legged forward fold. So you want to bring your legs as wide as you can. You can already go ahead and keep your strap with you or set it down. It's up to you. We're going to come down into a fold. Just come down to where your fingertips come down. And your fingertips might only come down to your shins or maybe a block or a chair in front of you. I'm going to press the pinky toe edges of your feet down. So we're releasing the sides of the calf muscles. And then just think about lengthening your spine. So for me, that involves some reaching of my ears away from my shoulders. Letting my tailbone uncurl and reach back behind me a little bit more. Think of the shoulder blades, the wing muscles getting off of the spine. Creating more space. One more inhale. Exhale. And then put a little bend in your knees. Draw your belly up to your spine. Come up to standing. Bringing your feet towards each other. One more standing balance. We're going to work for dancer's pose. If you wanted to come near something, if you wanted to put your hand on it so you don't have to worry about as much of the balance. This one's a doozy. You have a strap, so if you ever find it hard to catch your foot, you can grab the strap around your ankle like so. I'm in front of black things and I wear black and I try not to do this and then I end up everything's black all the time. Okay, so you've got that option, right? You could be holding onto your foot. What I also like to do is to reach back if you're able to grab onto the inside of your foot. So I'm holding the big toe edge. Not the big toe edge, the big toe edge. Okay, I'm going to look at something that's not moving so I can keep my balance. We're going to lift the inner thighs, lift the heart, push the foot back into the hand, and then let the body get expansive. You can stay here. You're going to keep lifting the inner thighs to keep the hips balanced. You might push the foot back a lot. You don't have to push the foot back a lot. You relax your throat. And then come on out of bed gently. Set the foot down. Give your hips a little wiggle. Bounce side to side. Kind of soften this low back region, which we will be working into a lot of softening again in that region when we get down to the floor. But first, the other side. I'm going to reach back. You're either going to take your strap around your ankle or hold on to the inside of the foot. Because we want to try to not let the knee go out, not let the hips go out, right? We want to keep the hips stable, inner thighs lifting. You're going to lift the heart up, relax this collarbone, lift your ears up. Maybe you push the foot back. Your other hand is going either out or it's down, holding on to something to keep you all put together. Inhale, exhale. And gently start to release that leg, set it down. I taught 2 variations of that in my class yesterday and I fell over every single one of them. It's like, oh, like it's not like an ego thing. It's like, oh, I should really just hold on to something today because that's helpful. We're gonna start working our way back down onto the floor or onto a seat. Go ahead and find, we're gonna come into a squat. So you can sit on down with your legs wide, or you can widen your feet, bend into your knees and come down. Maybe it's here, maybe it's lower. Once you make contact with your elbows onto your legs, and then let your heart lift up and forward. Nice and long through that lower back too, so you're reaching the hip bones down and back. One more exhale. And then from here, you're going to keep going all the way down into a seat. So that could be very graceful, or it could involve a lot of adjusting of limbs in order to get down here. Okay, before we work towards our last heart opener, I'm going to do a little bit more hip opening. If you're down here, if you're in a seat, you can take an ankle on your knee and come forward, which may be very similar to what you may have done before. If you're down on the floor, we're going to work into swan pose. So you're going to take one shin and open it up towards the front of your space, and then bring the other leg back just as much as is reasonable to you. Doesn't have to be a lot. You just want to have a little bit more space on this hip if you're able to come onto the floor and find that space. And then come on to maybe your forearms, maybe your hands is plenty and you feel a lot there. You're going to soften your belly. Get a little bit of a twist going on in this place, and that's also going to help to relax the lower back. Big breath in. Big breath out. Bringing your hands back in. We're going to work to the other side. So you're going to take the other leg up, bringing it parallel to the front of your mat space or your practice space. And then the other leg goes back just as much as you can. You're going to bring the hands forward. You could always come down onto forearms. You could go lower, or maybe just stay here and soften your belly in, letting a little bit more subtle work happen and relaxing the lower back. One more exhale. And then come on up. And you're either going to come to your hands and knees, or if you're working this from a chair, I'm going to scooch forward a little bit. You're going to have your hands back towards the back edge of your chair, and you'll be on fingertips working into some of this heart opening space. If you are okay with being on your knees for just a moment, it will just be this one pose. We're going to come into camel. So you're going to have your knees underneath your hips, and your hips right up here. You're going to have your knees about hip width apart. That's what I was going for, and your hips above your knees. If you need to pad up your space, please pad up your space. Give yourself a little extra boost there. We're going to take the hands into the small of the back. If you're feeling really bendy and on the second one, you want to take your fingertips down to your heels, you're welcome to do that, but I'm going to do both of them with my hands and my hips. Do have the toes curled under. If you're on your knees, it helps to lift up the underbutt. You want to feel your underbutt lifting up, and then take your heart, lift it up and away from your hands, your hips. The hips are moving forward. The shoulders roll back. Right, start to look up a little bit more. Take a big breath in. Soften your throat. Exhale. Inhale. See if you can open the heart a little bit more. Then draw your belly back first. Coming back up. Give yourself a little rest. Maybe wiggle things up. We're going to go back again. Which is the second time you might have a little bit more space. So underbutt lifting, hips forward, heart up and forward, shoulders back, gaze up. There's a circular pathway to this shape. It's going out and up. Give yourself one more breath, noticing that throat softening. And then belly drawing back, coming up. And then we're going to come down and just take a seat, legs out in front, whatever way that makes sense to you. You're going to use your hands to support you. Maybe you're on fingertips, maybe you're on palms, finding like a halfway to staff pose. Staff pose can be really intense. I don't want you to get like, sweaty intense about staff pose, but just like a stack everything up and engage and lengthen the spine pose, which is what staff pose is. But lifting your ears, strong arms, strong spine, softening the lower ribs in gently. One more exhale. Relax this shape. We're going to come down onto our backs. From seated, you can also open your legs and get some of this quad stretching that we'll be doing from the back. But if you come on down, feet a little bit wider than your hips, you're going to reach your arms either out and back behind you. If it feels comfortable in your shoulders, you can grab onto your elbows. But you want the legs wide enough that as they go over towards one side, so if my knees go over to the right, my left thigh is getting a big stretch, and I'm actively reaching the left kneecap away from me. If I've got my arms back behind my head, I'm softening the inner shoulders to reach the elbows out, opening the outsides of the shoulders, the outside of the arms. Breath in. Big breath out. Relax those shoulders. Take the knees up and work them over towards the other side. You're going to be reaching, if the knees are over to the left, it's your right knee that's reaching away from you. Insides of shoulders soften so the elbows can reach out and away. One more breath. And then bring the legs up. And release your arms. Using to draw your knees in. Keep your knees in nice and knees up nice and wide. You're going to reach up and hold onto your shins or onto your feet. Happy baby. Just bringing your torso on the insides of your thighs in a way that relaxes your back. Keep breathing softly into the lower back region to allow some of that relaxing to happen. One more exhale. Relax your feet. You're going to bring your knees back towards each other. Cross your ankles. If you are seated, go ahead and cross your thighs and come into a gentle fold. If you're on your back, just cross your ankles. Reach outside of your legs to hold onto your feet. Both of these places are going to help to relax that back again. Find a little bit more spaciousness back there where we've had some compression. Starting to seek balance in the body, even if we worked a lot in one direction, making sure we get both. One more exhale. And then switch the cross of your legs. One more breath out. And then cross your legs. We're going to come into a twist. Go ahead and open your arms. Let your knees go over to one side. Soften the opposite shoulder. Let your belly soften inwards towards your spine. Let your body be heavy. Allow the eyeballs to rest into the back of the skull. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then rolling your knees over to the other side. Finding a twist in the opposite direction, softening your belly, relaxing your shoulders. One more breath. And coming back to your back. Come on, go ahead and settle in here for our Shavasana, our final rest. So that might be maybe knees bent, it might be being settled into a chair, maybe it's extending the legs. From whatever seat or position you've chosen, see if you can softly snuggle the shoulder blades a little bit closer under the spine. So not into that point of compression we've been avoiding throughout practice, but more so just bringing them a little bit closer to allow the heart to open a little bit wider. Settling in for this very well-deserved rest. Start to come back to your breath. As you breathe a little bit more deeply, maybe making some small movements that help to wake you up as well. Your fingers or toes, or perhaps reaching the arms above your head, taking a nice good morning stretch like it's a new start to your day. If you're on your back, go ahead and roll yourself over. Let's take a moment of gratitude for coming to the practice today, for making it onto your mat. And then as you find your own version of a comfortable seat, knowing that it's your seat, no worries about what it looks like. Bring your hands together at your heart. This expansive, courageous, beautiful heart. From this place, releasing an Om together. Take a big breath in. Bowing down to the love and light that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. That was lovely.
That was really good. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. My shoulders, thank you. My hands, thank you.